Welcome to the Live Your Dreams podcast, where success leaves clues and someone has your answer. Joined as always with my lovely co-host, Miss Tia McKissick.
Hello.
All right, so first and foremost, welcome back, Tia. You took a long break. So what did you do on your break, Tia?
Spent time with family.
Oh, that's always good. And again, one of the things, before we get started, just wanted to help somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a free business funding training, hit the description down in my description link. Ladies and gentlemen, Fund and Grow. Just go right down to the description link, hit the link, and Fund and Grow. If you register, you will get a free business funding training. All right, so Tia, let's get back to you. Okay. All right, so first and foremost, we had a big day last week. What was the day we were celebrating?
Our anniversary.
Right.
28 years.
28 years. 28-year anniversary. That's going to lead to our topic. Our topic today is talking about how to be happy and how to celebrate 28 years of a wedding anniversary. So first and foremost, what do you think is the key to happiness, Tia?
Well, the key to happiness is, first of all, you have to love yourself, love each other, communicate.
Yeah, that's good.
Share, help each other out.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. And just like they say, if you're on a plane and something emergency was to happen, put your mask on first. So you can't help no one else if you can't help yourself, right? So put your mask on first, love yourself.
Right.
That's the key to happiness, and then you can share with others. Because if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? Truly, right? So that's one of the things. When you think about happiness, what do you think is the number one thing after loving yourself? What do you think comes after that?
Well, family.
Family, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the family piece is very important because sometimes we don't realize how important family is.
Right.
But then when you get in a crisis or something severe happens, family really steps up and really comes to bat, Right. So, I mean, I know that helped us, especially last week. We had a challenging week. We have 2 family members in the hospital. But with the support and the family coming together, it makes it a lot more bearable.
Right.
Don't you think?
Right.
Because I don't think problems stop. And I think that's one of the misconceptions individuals have when they think about happiness. They think that happiness is the absence of problems. But that's not the key.
That's not the key.
Because
you're going to have problems.
Right. And I always quote Jim Rohn when he said, hey, don't ask for less problems, ask to become better to deal with the problems that you do have.
Right.
And I think that's the key to success is actually becoming better to deal with the problems that you have.
Right.
Now
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So what is your meaning of happiness?
That's a good question because, I remember when you think about happiness, you think, okay, let me go to the dictionary. Let me look up the word happiness. But I don't have to go to the dictionary. I don't have to ask Webster, right?
Right.
I can just ask myself, say, okay, Maurice, what is happiness?
Mm-hmm.
And I could define that for myself. My number one thing is when you talk about happiness for me, it's really that peace of mind.
Okay.
Right? And contentment. Now, one of the things and I read a lot of motivational books, a lot of self-help books, and you'll get different philosophies. But the key is you have to have your philosophy. Just like my college professor told me, hey, it's your philosophy. And here's why. Sometimes you get a overload of information and you don't know what's right. You don't know what to believe. So you'll say, okay, happiness is having $1 million. Then another person will say, okay, happiness is having a large home. Okay. Then another person say happiness is having a family. And then another person will say happiness is having your own business. And then another person will say happiness. So when you get all this information, you say, man, I don't know what is happy.
Right.
But the key is you got to ask yourself. And if you say, what is happiness to me? It's always been peace of mind and contentment. And again, getting back to reading different information, some people say, okay, don't be content because you always want to grow. You always want more. But one of the things, it's a story I read one time. It was about an individual who had access to a wise man.
Mm-hmm.
Or access to a somewhat of a genie. Let's say that. So he couldn't believe that he had access to a genie. So he would sit there and say, the genie say, okay, what do you want? So then the man say, look, I want $1 million, right? Hypothetically, just to give you the moral of the story. It's okay. You got $1 million. He was like, wow, that was easy. Okay. What else do you want? Okay. I want a nice home.
Right.
Right. He got a nice home. Okay. What else do you want? I want a nice car. Okay. What else do you want? Okay. I want a nice family. Okay. What else do you want? I want all the food of every type of nationality. Okay. What else do you want? And it goes on. And this gentleman just kept naming stuff.
Right.
And kept naming stuff. And he actually passed away because, again, he didn't live. He just sat there, kept asking for more and more and more and more. And he never got to enjoy the stuff he asked for.
Right.
So that's when you say happiness, when I say peace of mind and contentment. And I understand when people say, hey, don't be content, you want more. I understand that philosophy.
Right.
But for me, my philosophy is peace of mind and contentment because, again, you want to be happy with what you have.
Right.
Because the happier you are with what you have, the more that will come to you.
That's true.
So I've always been the type, I don't want to spend my life wanting more and not enjoying what I have now.
Right.
Because that's, to me, that's just a mystery on what makes an individual do that. Because everybody's not the same. So happiness for me is peace of mind and contentment. Really being happy in the moment.
Right.
Because I've truly embraced that tomorrow's not promised.
That's true.
I've truly embraced that all I have is right now, this moment right here. I've truly adapted that into my philosophy that all I have is right now. I'm going to take this moment and enjoy it and really make the most out of this moment. Even though we have challenges, even though we have problems, you just want to ensure that you're embracing the moment that you're in now. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So what, as you said, yours is family, yours is making sure, you're good. What else do you think when it comes to happiness? Let's talk about happiness in a marriage. What is happiness in a marriage to you?
Well, I'm so happy I met you, a loving husband, and being able to spend time with you, being able to have a spouse, to spend your life with.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I mean, a lot of people, want that and they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important.
And it's so funny because we just saw somebody did get married because we were just saying people wasn't getting married. So people are getting married. I think just people we knew.
It feels good to have somebody you can talk to.
Yeah.
Somebody at night you can be with and spend time with, have a family.
Yeah, and be
Everybody
friends.
want to be loved.
Yeah, and be friends.
Right.
And one thing about that is that I've always tried to embrace the fact that to have friends, you have to be friendly.
Right.
So it's the same thing with being in a relationship. To have you as my friend, which you are my friend,
right,
I have to be friendly.
Right.
In order for us to be real friends. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that's always been the case where in order to have friendship, you have to be that friend. And I've always and again, sometimes you could be friendly to somebody and they still treat you bad. So I'm not saying that, but that's life.
If they treating you bad, you don't need them.
That's right, they ain't your friend.
Right.
But that's life where it has so many mysteries, right? But I've always, for me, it benefited me to have friends. I wanted to always be friendly, So for you, I've always been friendly. And not saying that it's perfect or, we're in this marital bliss at all times, because that's not true. But we're friendly with each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And we've grown. We listen to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
The older you get, you listen.
Yeah, and I think as you get older, I think you realize more and more that you need someone to listen to you.
Right.
Because again, when you get older, you start to think different.
Right.
You really do. So let's stay right there, and then we'll come back to that part. We're talking about happiness, talking about marriage. We're talking about, like I said, 28-year anniversary, which is definitely a blessing. So first, let's go to our sponsor, Short Child Care, short name, long in service. That was Tom's quote. And again, Short Child Care is working really hard to grow Short Child Care. And again, we're using Fund and Grow. So just a great thing. So again, in the description box, go down to Fund and Grow. But Short Child Care, short name, longer service. There is a wait list, but put your child's name on the wait list because spots do become available. And when they come available, you'll be first up. So again, Short Child Care, short name, long in service. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, getting back to what we were talking about with how to be happy, how to have a marriage, 28 years. We just celebrated our 28-year anniversary. And I guess I always ask, did it seem like 28 years to you?
It went fast.
It went real fast, right?
I know. It
And
seemed like we just met.
I know. And when you think of it with our children, all of them adults now, I don't see how that happened.
I know. It seemed like, now that they're adults, life goes fast.
Oh, real fast. And remember, and just to somebody out there who, especially if you're younger than us, you always say, hey, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't
Right.
wait. I
Yep.
can't wait.
Yep.
You're always waiting for something. Oh, man, I'm going to really live when I get 18. Oh, man, I'm going to really live when I get out of college. Oh, man, I'm going to really live when
Right.
I get my own place. Oh, I'm going to really live. But you're always waiting to live
Right.
where you can live right now.
That's true.
You don't have to wait to live.
Right.
And again, that's where I work hard, that I don't find myself in that waiting piece. Oh, when I get this, I'm going to really live. But I think because you never get your ducks in a row, it's just like the story that I told.
Mm-hmm.
After his first wish, you would have thought he would start living. But no, a second wish come. And you'd have thought definitely after the second wish, he was going to start living. But then the third wish come. And then you thought for sure after the third wish, everything someone would want out of life, you would thought he would start living. But no, it's that constant want of more, where there's no satisfaction for the more. The only satisfaction for the more is to want more, right?
Right.
And again, sometimes that can really, I guess when you think about living in the moment, can stop you because you want all your ducks in a row, and your ducks never get in a row.
Right.
Never. And sometimes you would say, okay, when this happens, I'm going to do this, and when this happens. But I'm telling you, this is Live Your Dreams podcast. Success leaves clues. Someone has your answer. Start now, today.
Start now.
You can enjoy your life right now.
Right.
Right? And I know some circumstances are more difficult than others. And you and I have been in some very difficult.
You just can't compare yourself to people.
That's it. Because you and I have been in some very difficult situations. But now that we look back at some of those situations, like, was that really difficult? But when you're going through it, you think it's like
the end of the world.
The end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get out of it, you're like, man, was it really that
But you
difficult?
got to go through a test.
Yep, that's the only way you get the testimony. Yeah, that's the only way you get the testimony, by going through a test. How do you know you're?
And that's how you help people.
Yeah, that's it. How do you know you achieved a different level of skill if you're not tested on that skill set?
Right.
Right. How do you know you truly have that skill set if you've never really been tested on it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing with life. How do you know you're really having that, I guess, peak performance if you've never been tested?
That's true.
Right. You have to go through that test to show that you have learned the skills to be that master that you want to be, or whatever it may be.
Right.
But it's always a test that you have to take.
Right.
You know? And I know with weight loss, it's been very, very challenging. And when I first started the weight loss, it was like, oh man, it's amazing, it's easy.
Uh-huh.
But as it goes on, you start to realize that, hey, it's difficult too.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's
sometimes you may do good, sometimes you fall off.
Yeah. And sometimes you think that's going to come without challenges, that you're just going to stroll to the goal, but it takes work.
Right.
You
and it feels
work out.
good when you have somebody to work out with.
Absolutely.
Or somebody pushing you, saying, come on, let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely need that accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody would say, okay, what's one of the, and I think that goes back to what we were talking about with happiness,
right?
Having that friend.
Mm-hmm.
But it still goes back to being friendly. You have to be friendly in order to have that friend, because you have to be that friend.
That's true.
Right? Because sometimes I lean on you, sometimes you lean on me, we have to be there for each other.
Right.
That's a friendship.
Right.
Right? We have to definitely lean on each other sometime.
Right.
And sometimes we both are at a 10, right? and those are the times you just embrace that moment and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you don't know what tomorrow holds.
No.
None of us know what
None of
tomorrow
us.
holds.
No.
And none of us know if we're even going to be here tomorrow. So that's why with happiness for me, you got to enjoy right now.
Right.
Don't wait for a different circumstance. Don't wait for all your ducks to get in a row. Enjoy your life and live your dreams now. So if you know you have a dream, you can start on it right now to really embrace that dream that you want.
And be happy with what you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because one of the things about it, you know, I look at when I was growing up, we were considered, you would say, hey, we didn't have resources compared to American standards.
Right.
But when you start to travel and go other places, you'd be like, wow, we got it made.
Right.
Right. Everybody I knew had running water in their home. Everybody I knew had a working bathroom in their home.
Right.
I've never knew anyone who actually starved to death.
Right.
You know, I've never really knew anyone who was in extreme, when you say poverty.
Right.
Because now I know what extreme poverty is.
Right.
And, you know, even under the circumstances we were under, when you look at it, we were still living a really good life because we had family,
Mm-hmm.
right? We had happy times. And a lot of things that we did that didn't cost much when we would go to some of the different parks,
Right.
or some of the different, especially when you and I first got married, we would take the kids to parks and things like that. It didn't cost resources for that.
Right.
It was just time.
Right.
And really wanting to be there. I think that's
Right.
the key to wanting to be there and really enjoying that, knowing that this was it. You know,
Right, that's
this
true.
was the key to happiness, is really enjoying your moment.
Right.
You know, so that's amazing. So 28 years of marriage. What advice would you give somebody if they want to, you know, be happy, enjoy a successful marriage? What do you think would be some of the keys to that for a marriage?
I think communication with your spouse, you know, supporting them,
Yeah.
being there for them,
Yeah.
not cheating on them.
Yeah. Now, when you say communication, a lot of times they'll say like men don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the key to getting, like, for men to talk? What do you think is the key for that?
I think they need to listen more to women.
Yeah. So you think it's not really the talking.
I
It's
think
the
they
listening.
need to talk too, but listen too.
Yeah. Which is sometimes hard.
And they can talk about their feelings as well.
Yeah.
Why don't men like to talk?
I think one of the things is it's that macho facade you want to put up, that I got everything under control.
But men go through problems just like women.
Of course. Yeah. I go through a lot of problems.
Right.
So, but one of the things I think is that facade you put, that I got everything under control, I'm macho. But sometimes, you know, I have to embrace that I get weak sometimes. And sometimes, you know, when and here's a point to go back to that. When my mom was living, it was something about having your mother here, that unconditional love.
Right.
You know, no matter what I did, I know I always had somebody who would embrace me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, I could have did anything, but I knew I always had my mother to go back to, and she would embrace me
Right.
unconditionally. And I think that's, so let's think about that when you talk about communication. So most people, when it comes to communication, can communicate with their mom because they know it's a judge-free zone, right?
Right.
So, but when you get in a relationship, you kind of tense up, because if I really show you who I am,
Mm-hmm.
would you really still love me, right? When you come with your relationship with your mom, it's not that, because you know no matter what, it has been shown, no matter what I do, you're still going to love me. So
if that person love you unconditionally, just like your mom, they will stay.
Absolutely. And that's the key. That's one of the, that's you're talking about now, trust. You're talking, because again, you don't want to feel, I guess if you open yourself up and you get hurt, it's hard for you to kind of get that wall down again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's one of the things where you think about that. So I think, you know, to be married 28 years, it takes a level of, I guess, trust.
Right.
It takes a level of commitment to be a friend, because that's one of the things I work hard on, and I'm not perfect, but try to be a friend,
Right.
because I know I need you to be my friend.
Right.
And I think that's one of the number one things where I think with you and I, we always try to be each other friends. You know what I mean? And really enjoy each other company.
Right.
You know? And I think that's one of the things that I think made the 28 years go by a lot quicker.
Right.
Where it was kind of, enjoyable.
And me and you like the same things. You always been a family person.
Yeah.
Even when I first met you.
Yeah. And I think that's the key.
We like the same things.
Yeah. And I think we grew to that, because still now, like, for instance, something hypothetical like the putt golf.
Right.
You're getting into it because I liked it. Right. So I think some of the things that I liked, you learned to like. Mm-hmm. Like, I always like going to the movies. You like going to the movies.
Right.
Some of the things you liked, I've learned to like, just like watching Fatal Attraction or whatever it may be. I think we've learned to like the things that the other person liked.
Right.
And that's a part of being a friend.
That's true.
Right. So that's that. So I think that's the key to the 28 years of happy marriage, is just making sure that you be a friend. Right. To be happy, I think you hit it on the head. You have to love yourself. Right. You have to love your family. And I think that's the key to happiness.
Right. It is.
Right. And, I think that will definitely, hopefully we help somebody with that, because I think that's the key to success. Really talking and communicating and opening up and really allowing somebody in. Right. It's because sometimes it's hard to let people in, but I think that's the key to let somebody in.
That's
all right.
True.
So in closing, anything else you wanted to add to that, Tia?
Just love your spouse, and, if you're in a situation.
There you go. All right. And if you do, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you. And yes, I do mean you. Living your dreams. Peace.